I am currently classified as a total care patient, which means I need help dressing, bathing, toileting, and eating. It'll be 17 years in July that I've lived long-term in the facility that I'm at. I cried for the first 3 days I was there, and I begged every family member that came, please take me home. The one thing that I fear the most is those first couple minutes in the morning when I ring my bell and I'm waiting to make sure somebody's going to come. I feel very helpless, and I know, because I know that if nobody does show up, I'm stuck like this.
Every day for my care needs, I ask for my medication, pain medication. I had my first problem with the nurse, knowing that there was an extra medication in my cup. And I said to her, why is there an extra pill in my cup? And she ignored me. I was a nervous wreck.
I've had Parkinson's for 15 years, and my wife has dementia. And a couple of 3 years ago, we decided that we were progressing to the point that we really needed more professional help. We've been living in a 55-up community, but the next step was the assisted living. It's really been a tough time for me. We've been married 61 years, and there are times when I leave her and I get that longing look from her, like, by the time I get the elevator, the tears are flowing. I just couldn't help it. And I do feel that I've lost control of watching over her. Even though I know that somebody's watching over her, I don't know if they're doing an adequate job.
I did my research prior to having my mother go to this facility, and it was not my first choice. I chose it because of the proximity to my house. It's not a 5-star facility, but I have the ability to be there, and I'm going to make sure she gets the best care possible. She would call me, and she'd say, nobody's come to change me, nobody's answering my bell.
I wasn't clean properly. I was left, dirty. I asked to be clean right, and I'm pressing the call button, and it's passing 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes they shut up the button, the light, and they don't even say what I need. Finally, the lady for second shift comes in, and she said, I don't do this. I don't clean nobody's behind. I'm like, what are you talking about?
My mom can't really tell me. She can give me pieces of a story, but there are times her dementia is pretty solid when she's tired, and there are times she could be pretty darn clear, and she will talk to you and she will tell you the girl in this outfit or the boy in this outfit did this or that, and she's right. And just because she may have dementia doesn't mean she doesn't know what she's saying, which is what we get a lot. I've seen her be treated less than human.
I'm a Sarah lift because I can't get up by myself. And so I was up and they just started ripping off the back of my clothes. And I said, stop, I'm not an animal. And they sort of stopped, but she kept doing it. And I said, that's not how you treat people. I'm not an animal. And they told me to be quiet. I was being too loud. And I meant to be loud. Because I wanted somebody in the hallway to hear. But nobody did. And so I just lived with it, and I was in pain. I just suffered with it.
I'm in a corner, I don't got where to go. I'm in a dark room, I don't know how to get out. It's like, I'm in the desert, I don't got no water. How I'm gonna make it? The question in my mind going through is, should I ask or should I not ask for help? Is it gonna get worse or is it gonna get better?
One of the concerns that we often hear is that people fear retaliation. They may have never experienced it before. They may never experience it in the future, but due to the loss of autonomy and control and self-determination, they have that fear because they don't have that independence.
It took me a day to tell someone because I was afraid what would happen. I did feel like they had power over me and I was powerless. Once I got in this chair, it's like that was it. I was going to sit there no matter how much I hurt. And so what comes back to you sometimes is the worst fears that ever happened to you.
Fear, as we know, is real. Fear is fear. What can I do? What can I say? Who's on my side? Don't make waves.
They don't know the after effect or the aftermath of once they say something, what will happen? Will it change? Will it get worse? Will it get better? Who to say something to. When I say something to that person, who else they would tell, and what will happen to me after the fact.
The fear comes from the unknown. With regard to retaliation, it's almost worse than knowing. I mean, when you don't know, you're afraid to speak up.
I didn't want to say anything because it would have hurt me more than what I was getting hurt already. They own this place, and they might throw me out.
There's always a fear of retaliation, and no matter what kind of setting you're in. It's real because you know that you can't get just your basic needs taken care of. If somebody is upset and mad with you, they will make you wait longer, or they may dismiss you, and you're just stuck sitting there waiting on someone. This person will tell you, wait a minute, and your minute comes minutes, half an hour. It could end up being like the following day. But it's like, how can you forget me? But if I'm someone that's demanding, then of course, if I'm like one of those very problematic resident.
I didn't want to get labeled as being a difficult patient because I think what I've seen over the years that some of our residents complain a lot and they're labeled quote unquote difficult patients.
Someone may either anticipate retaliation or they've maybe filed a complaint or they've had a concern about someone, and then over the next couple of days, something happens, and they assume that it's due to the fact that they made a complaint.
One of the things retaliation can be is just simply someone raising their voice at someone. It could look as if they're being abused.
I had some crazy thoughts that something would happen to my mother after we made those complaints. I was afraid, it's probably super crazy, that maybe she would get the wrong medication one day and no longer be here. I mean, that's how nervous I got. And we've seen them, tilt wheelchairs backwards. We've seen food, people get their food last, people not, we know these microaggressions happen.
But I am afraid of what the aide may do to my mom because there have been some very nasty people. And when I spoke up, I was worried that they would be even meaner when I wasn't there.
Fear of retaliation can have an incredible impact on your daily life. You can become withdrawn. People can no longer interact in the same way, or maybe they won't ask for the same levels of care. They settle for having cold food because they're afraid to ask for their food to be warm. It could be very little issues and concerns or very large concerns, like not getting the actual care that they need, and maybe they develop a wound or other care issues.
When my mom complained because they weren't taking her to the bathroom enough, they did get mad at her, and they told her that she's exaggerating, that she's bored, that there's no reason for her to have to keep going to the bathroom. So my mom would stop asking. And then my mom stopped drinking, because if she drank, she would end up having to go to the bathroom. My mom ended up with a UTI and in the hospital.
No one should sit alone with these feelings of mistrust or that something's going to happen to them if they make a report. It's really important that they express themselves and that they understand there are tools to have their fears addressed.
I felt it somewhat intimidating a little bit to initially speak out about certain things, but I think little by little as I saw how things went and how they affected me negatively, the only one that was going to speak out was for myself. I started getting involved with the different activities in my facility. I was asked to sit on a board for resident council. I started attending the monthly resident council meetings in my facility.
One day I had seen a notice posted on the board about resident council. And so I went to a meeting. I learned what my rights were, and so I felt more comfortable knowing that I had these rights and I can go to these people for help.
At every resident council meeting, they go through every department and any person that has any things that they would like to talk about. They raise their hand and they're given 5 minutes to talk.
I think when you find a friend or find a group such as your resident council, you realize you are not the only one. And I think that relieves some of that fear and that pain because you are not by yourself. There are other people experiencing what you're experiencing. And then having developed relationships with staff in the building, I think that really helped too. Because I felt like I had a comrade I could go to say, look, I'm experiencing this. How can you help me address this?
Find that one person within the organization. It doesn't matter if it's the housekeeper, it doesn't matter if it's the dietary aide, the social worker, the director of nursing, if it's the administrator, if it's another resident. Find someone who is okay and open to be an advocate for them.
I think it's important to go to people you trust. I think if you have a gut feeling that something is happening, it likely is happening.
If you're not feeling comfortable and something deep inside is telling you something's not right, then you're right. You're always going to be right because when someone's providing you the service, you have the right to complain.
I finally started asking people. One person I knew, they say, no, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be afraid. I mean, what do you mean? You don't have to be afraid, man, but I'm going through this. You're not going through this. You didn't went through this. I'm going through this. He said, but it's going to get fixed, but you just have to go through the process. Just go through the process. It's going to be fine. I said, well, I don't know you, but I'm going to believe you. Okay, let me go through the process.
The first thing that you need to do is start off with a grievance. Because when you write out a grievance, that's the paper trail.
I went through the chain of command. I went to the supervisor, and then I went to the nursing supervisor, and then the supervisor of the supervisor, and then I went to the administrator.
I try to start with the next person in line. If that doesn't get accomplished, I go to the LPN, and if then it doesn't get accomplished, I go to the supervisor.
I had options, knowing that I had a social worker and I had an administrator. And if I haven't gotten any answers through the administrator, I would have contacted the long-term ombudsman.
There are long-term care ombudsman programs in every state across the country, and it's our role to advocate on behalf of individuals receiving long-term services and supports. Every state office is set up a little differently. However, we do support anyone living in a long-term care setting, residential care homes or small homes in the greater community, assisted living communities, and in some states for individuals receiving home care.
The ombudsman plays a very special role. I think it's definitely a safety net. I felt like I had somebody in my corner that would fight for me and fight for the others that I lived with to make sure that the dignity and respect that individuals deserve living in nursing homes, that it's honored.
I feel very comfortable knowing that I have somebody on my side, knowing that it will advocate for me. They will step in and help you to, with any problems that you might be having.
I'm grateful that we have an ombudsman that works on our behalf. And I think you need to get to know what it is, because that's a term that not everyone understands.
I said, who's ombudsman? Who you talking about? What's that? They say, he'll advocate for you. He will fight for you, not for here, for you, for the residents. I said, for real? Okay. Well, where's the number? He said, it should be in the wall somewhere. Look for it.
It's posted, like even in our building, their number, very visible, a picture of our regional ombudsman, so that if they really feel like nobody's listening to them, the regional ombudsman and the state ombudsman's office would assist them.
We represent their rights related to dignity, respect, privacy. We want to ensure that they're receiving care in a dignified way and in a way that is person-centered, that they're directing and meets their individualized needs. We talk about the fact that they might be feeling vulnerable. We bring it up first and really explain to them that we want to know and help them learn how to self-advocate, to reassure them and let them know that there's avenues for them to be able to have their concerns addressed, and we let them know what those avenues are.
First thing is they ask me for permission if they can abrogate for me, and they can ask questions, and they have permissions to do what they are supposed to do. And I say, yes, you do. You can. Go ahead. They did what they're supposed to, and they came with a solution, and they gave it to me. And I was like, wow, this really works. It was soothing and what I wanted to hear. I was like, whoa, I got somebody behind me now.
It carries a little more weight when you have the ombudsman coming in. We have more power in numbers. We are, there's someone listening to my concerns.
And when you find the person to trust, it will work out okay.
I think once people understand who the ombudsman are and what we can do to help support them, it can be life-changing for people.
We may think that we can't do something and then you can here, and it's like a little strange. It's a wonderful experience.
Being part of resident council, being part of the statewide coalition of resident council presidents gave me purpose and a reason to want to be and do something every day, to stay engaged, to eat, to sleep, to function as best as you possibly can. It gives you a better quality of life. And I felt that becoming part of those programs have really helped me to not become depressed or angry or fearful.
I said, I don't have to get used to anything. I have rights. And you're not going to ever do this to me again or to anybody else in here.
I had an empowered feeling, like this is not going to happen to me anymore.
I grabbed the bull by the horns. I'm the power. I'm my own person, myself. I live in that room. I live in that nursing home. I have rights. And the Bill of Rights.
Any U.S. citizen has rights, no matter the setting you're in, but especially if you're receiving care, you should have the right to be fully informed, to understand what's happening with your care, to have a say in your care.
Everyone has the right to their opinion. Everyone has the right to vote. Everyone has the right to receive the care that they're deserving and paying for. I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is to convince people that they do have a voice. We have the right to speak up and responsibility really to speak up and not let it go.
There's many that they cannot speak for themselves. I try to help them as much as I can. I give the ombudsman number. I say, look, if this doesn't get fixed after you go through the channels, just call the ombudsman right away and leave your note and be honest about it. This is what's going on. Always write the date and the name, especially the name of the person. Like, you have to know that. Don't stay quiet. Don't be afraid to ask someone to help you.
For anyone who's out there who has a fear of retaliation, who has some concerns, who maybe hasn't reached out before and doesn't know what the Ombudsman's office can do for them or what the resources are, whether you're a resident, a family member, or a care team member, I really encourage you to reach out. If you don't know how to reach out or how to find your Ombudsman in your local community, you can go to the National Consumer Voice. There's a list of every Ombudsman's office, how to contact them. We are free, we're confidential, and people can just get information from their local ombudsman. Every person deserves to receive high-quality care in a way that's dignified and meets their individualized needs. And I think it's really important that we realize that we're all there for the same reason. The residents are there for the care that they need. People receiving care services in the greater community just want to live their best life. And Care team members are there because they want to provide that care. And if we keep that in mind and we understand that we all have the same goal, I think things will go better because we want staff to feel successful in the way that they're providing care and services to individuals.
If you can look at that patient and picture your own family member's face, put them there. Respect them as your family. Give them dignity. Let them have their voice. It's not hard to do, and it could make me cry. Just respect them like they're your family.
When you really help someone see that they have a say in things that happen, like when they get up. Do I drink coffee first, or do I have to get up and be dressed? Those little nuances to people's day can make a huge difference in the way that they feel like they have some power and control, just like anyone else living their best life.